All right, if you want your marketing to work for your law firm, then you're going to need to build a good landing page, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. So there's a general format that I use every time I build landing pages for law firms and even other service-based businesses that works extremely well and typically gets a conversion rate in between 10 and 15%, sometimes as high as 20%, but it's usually around there, coming from Google ads that have been obviously targeted correctly. So I'm going to share with you that general format, and then you can apply that to your law firm if you want. Basically, the very first thing you need to know is where's your traffic going to come from. If you listen to my other videos and my advice in general and you're running a law firm, I recommend that be Google, especially at the beginning or in the earlier stages until you've completely maxed that out. So you need to know where the traffic is coming from. That's going to dictate what you put on this landing page. However, let's assume that just for the purpose of this example, let's say that we're a family lawyer. We're running Google ads for things like family lawyer near me, divorce lawyer near me, things like that you'd be running them for. Let's go with the family law page in general. I'm going to show you how I would work through the process of setting up a page like this. So basically, we have to take into account that somebody has clicked on Google, they've searched for family lawyer in my area, near me, whatever, something like that. And they've clicked that keyword, they've seen our ad, and now they're landing on the landing page. So the very first thing that you want to do at the top is you want to have a headline. So let's go. I'm just going to put like this, headline. And this should be in big letters and right at the top so that they see it when they first land on the page. It should just take up most of the screen, if not all of the screen. And you want that headline to, one, grab their attention, and two, to make some kind of statement for them to want to keep reading. So for example, you definitely would want to include the fact that it's a family lawyer because you want to have the keyword in there. So you'd want to have like family lawyers and then like, let's say your area, let's just say Sydney, for example. You'd want to have that in there, right? As somewhere. Now, I usually would put that as like a smaller text, maybe above or below, because that, while you want that to be there so they know they're in the right place, you want to get something more attention grabbing as the largest text. And so I would have something even bigger, either above or below that grabs their attention. Now, this is going to depend on what your specific offer is. And I highly recommend that you have a good offer that stands out amongst all of the other law firms that are out there, because everyone's basically saying the same thing. But you would want to have something there. This is one right off the top of my head, so keep that in mind. But it would be something like, we will resolve your family matter faster than any other firm. Now, again, this is just for the purpose of this video. Let's ignore the fact whether you can or cannot say certain things, etc. But I'm just making a point, right? So this is already miles different to what everyone else is already saying on Google and all your competition. And so now when they land on the page, they should see something like this. Obviously, this is roughly drawn by hand, but it should have the big headline and also family lawyers, Sydney or whatever area you're in, just to make them aware that they're in the right place. And you want to make a bold statement like that addresses their pain points, right? So let's say, for example, one of the things that happens with divorce or family, well, let's say divorce specifically, is that it can drag on for ages. So this is kind of addressing that point about you're going to do it faster than anyone else. Now, obviously, you could do this a lot better. You could address the factor that it's going to cost a lot. It could be very emotionally intensive. So like I said, this is a very quick thing I thought up in 5 seconds, but it gives you an idea. Then below this, what you want to do, this is now where you want to sell them and why you can help them and what you want to use, why they should use you specifically. So the first thing you want to do is you want to hit pain points. So you want to write up content that reminds them about all the pain points. So let's say, for example, with family law, so we got pain points. With family law, like I just said, it was time, stress, cost. And cost is a major one, as we know people lose their assets, their whole lives get turned upside down, all this other thing. You could maybe address children as well. So you can address here in your content how and why divorce or family law takes so long. I wouldn't, now actually I'm going to take a step back here and just say divorce. I'm going to say divorce here because I'm focusing specifically on divorce. Family is too broad here, but let's just for the purpose of this video, just bear with me. So let's go with divorce. And you would want to have the same thing here up the top. You'd want to have divorce lawyers because we're going down that path. Okay, so you'd have divorce lawyer Sydney. Now we'll move down to the copy. So we'll go copy, we'll put that here. And so again, you're addressing the pain points, right? And that's the first thing you want to do. And then the second part, once you've done that, to just agitate it a little bit and just remind them of why they need your services and what the problem actually is. Because it sounds funny, but people actually do kind of forget when they're browsing online. They don't, like, you want to make sure they're aware of how big the problem actually could be and is, right? Just remind them of that so that they're more likely to think that you, one, understand their situation, and two, they've got a bit more urgency. And then beyond that, you now want to talk about solving it, how you can solve it, and what you do specifically that will resolve this. And ideally, if you can show a reason why you can solve it better than anyone else, that's great. Like that's ultimately what you want to do. So you want to tell them how you can solve it. So how and why, let's do that. How and why you, what you can do for them that is going to stand out compared to everyone else, and maybe make some kind of reference to your offer as well. So whatever your offer is. So like how you would have to now explain how you're going to do it faster and more efficiently than everyone else, like we spoke about in the headline. So you want to go through that basic structure of pains, remind them of all the pain points, and then how you can solve it, and also then what you solve as well. I would include that as the next part. So what you can solve. So now when you've already told them the pain points and then how or why you and how you can, now you want to go what. So for example, within divorce, you might have like relationship property, you would have like maybe mediation, disputes, getting favorable outcomes, you know, if the spouses are fighting or whatever, things like that, right? So you want to list out all the things that you can actually help them with, and ideally explain a little bit about what you can do in these particular areas too, because that's going to help you as well make the case. And so by this point, they should be relatively sold, right? Like you've told them what you can help them. You've got a standout offer that differentiates you a little bit. You've agitated the pain points a bit more and reminded them about what the problem actually is. And now you're talking about how you can solve it, why, and all the different things you can. And now obviously you would want to make sure that they can actually contact you. You'd want to have like a CTA. Right around here is a good time to put a CTA. I'd probably also put one above as well. So like under solve, I'd probably put another CTA button here. So just like contact us, right? And we'll go into that in a minute as well. And then now you've got that. So now you've got all these points. So now at this point, they should be relatively sold already. But what you want to do here is like offer some kind of proof and just answer any other objections and questions. So basically what you can start doing now is the next part here I would have is like maybe some kind of personal touch. So if you can have a photo of the team. So like, let's draw a line and just put like team. If you can have a photo of you, maybe the principal or like the whole team, and just get them to see real faces and who they're going to be working with. And ideally, maybe you could have like, you know, a person or a face, who it is, and like a little quote from them. It just makes it a little bit more personal. When people see faces, they're more likely to want to work with that company because it makes them seem more real. So you definitely want to have face over here. So I'll put face and just intro, let's say, just a brief intro about who they're working with. Obviously, if you can put some credibility here, that's going to help you, showing what these particular lawyers have done specifically in divorce and things like that. That'll help. Then below that, I would also recommend having testimonials for sure. Now, you want to make sure that they're as real and believable as possible. So ideally like a Google feed or something like that, where it's a third-party place that people recognize and they trust. So for example, Google, if you can get your reviews on there, that's going to be a lot more believable and a much stronger point. So you want to have them on there. I'll just put Google here. And then here you would want to put any other parts, any other information that's going to be useful. So for example, if you service, I would usually put a map, and I like putting maps on these pages just generally, because it just helps to solidify the fact that you're actually in their area. So whether that's, let's say you serve the whole country, let's say whether it's Australia, United States, whatever it is, you can just put the whole map. Otherwise, if it's your state or specific city, you can put the map of the city, like an embedded Google map. Otherwise, if you have an office and you're not just an online firm, you would definitely want to put the office address there as well. So you have the map here, some kind of map. So at least just let them know that like you service their area, if nothing else. But if you have an office, put that on there for sure. And then from here, I would have any other address anything else. So let's say FAQs. And here you can address any other objections that people might ask commonly that you can solve here, like common questions, like let's say, do you need a lawyer for a divorce? What happens if you have to go to court? You know, how much is it going to cost? All these different things. You would just want to list them out here and just like help answer any further questions, you know, help build a bit more trust, give them a little bit of information, and they're more likely to, you know, again, trust you and want to use you, and also just help them just generally, because that is going to help. And then once you've done that, FAQ, I mean, people are going to need you regardless of what you say there. So you want to put that. And then after here, I would put the CTA. So right here would be on that very page. I would have either a form. Actually, I would always have a form. So it'd be a form. And then you could, if you want to take phone calls, you could also have a phone button. So a big button that stands out that people can click to actually call you, ideally from mobile. That's going to help you to actually get people to fill out the form. You don't want to make them go hunting for a form around your website. People will, but if you can make it easier, you're going to get more of them. And then also with that form, you can also potentially use some questions and things to filter people out. So like if there's certain prospects you don't want to work with, you can put some fields in that form to try and filter them out and things like that. So that allows you to do that. So that's basically it. And then what happens is these buttons that you put, the CTA buttons I mentioned earlier, should actually have them like here as well, and just put them in every section. This is the general format I always do. And then now what will happen is here as well. So when someone clicks one of these buttons, it'll take them straight down to the form. And this is the general format that I always use when it comes to landing pages. And it works extremely well. Like I said, you can expect this to convert about, if you've done it correctly, you can expect this to convert anywhere from 10 to 20% running Google Ads. And so again, just to outline everything we discussed here, you want to have the headline up the top, which has some kind of standout offer and gets their attention to want to keep reading. Then you have the pain points you want to address with the copy, how you can solve these things for them and what they're looking for. Have the CTA, what you solve specifically, and include all the specific things that you do within your area of law. Another CTA. Have some kind of face and team, and ideally some kind of intro so they know who they're working with. Have some testimonials, have the map as well. Address any other questions or objections that people might have with a bit of a FAQ or some other kind of content on there. And then you have the CTA, which would be a phone or a phone number button, or both. You can do both. You could put like phone here, so call, and then have below that, the form, and just fill out your form. And you want to tell people to fill out the form. So you would have like, fill out form now to speak with our team, get a free consultation, whatever you're offering. And that general layout of landing pages works extremely well for law firms. Every single time I've applied this, it just does really, really well, both with organic traffic and with paid traffic. So I highly recommend you use this. So that's basically it. I would recommend following this format. If you want me to implement something like this for your law firm and get you traffic to these landing pages through either Google Ads or SEO, and get you more matters overall, which is what matters, I do that on a pure performance basis to help you make $1 million a year or more from your law firm. You can click the link in the description below, book a call with me through the website, and I'll see how I can help. Talk then.